Hello everyone, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to hire on UpWork specifically for YouTube automation, just because I feel like it's a problem that a lot of people have. Keep in mind that YouTube automation or running faceless channels, it's really not that easy, guys. It sounds easy, but hiring the right people to actually create these videos for you is part of the difficult process. But if you can overcome that hurdle, you are going to be ahead of the other people who are struggling with hiring. Now, you can hire on Fiverr, you can hire on onlinejobs.ph, but I mainly hire from UpWork. And so in this video, I'm going to be teaching you some basic foundation skills that I've learned over the past couple of years on how I hire individuals from UpWork. Now, keep in mind that if you want to follow along with me, there is going to be a link down below in the description where you can follow along with me. Perhaps maybe you can watch this video once and then the second run through, follow along with me so that you can understand step by step on how to actually hire people on UpWork. Now, if you use the link down below, keep in mind I am going to get a slight commission if you do decide to sign up with UpWork using my link. It's just to help support the channel, but that is my affiliate disclaimer. When you navigate towards that link, you're going to land in this homepage that you see over here. You simply just want to click on Get Started, and then you want to click on I'm a client hiring for a project, join as a client. You can continue with your Apple ID or continue with your Google email, but basically just fill out this information and afterwards you'll be created an account. Now, when you first log on, your UpWork profile is going to look like this. Okay, this is the home page. And so these are all basically your jobs that you have ongoing. And then here are some previous hires. You simply just want to click on Post a Job. And now this is one of the things I really like about UpWork is the ability to edit a draft or the ability to reuse a previous job post. More than often, I do click on rework/reuse a previous job post. So you can see all these job posts that I have here. If you want to create a new job, I tend to choose long-term. So just click on continue. I'll do it without AI. I like manually doing it. Now for your job post, I tend to do like a looking for blank type format. So in this case, we can do looking for scriptwriter for, let's say, sports YouTube channel. And then in brackets, I tend to do like the words long term, just so it's more appealing. So you kind of have to think about your job listings as a way that you want people to click on. So here we have looking for scriptwriter for blank. So looking for scriptwriter for sports YouTube channel, long term. And then the job category, just click on script writing, or basically click on the job category that best describes your job listing. So next we'll click on skills. Now, I tend to use the popular skills that UpWork tends to generate for you. So I'll just click on everything here: creative writing, copywriting, article writing, search engine, SEO, blog writing. And that's pretty much it. Okay, there's some other toggle down menus here, but I'm going to assume that we're hiring for English channels for now. So with that, click on next scope. And again, we're always tending to look for long-term work. Even if you don't end up hiring them for more than 6 months, it still is more appealing for people to find work that is more than 6 months than to find work that is only like 1 month. I normally always do entry level just because I really like to find those high quality freelancers that are still trying to get their ground up and running in UpWork. This job could be a full-time opportunity. I always do worldwide, even though we're hiring for English speaking or English script writers. There are really good writers who are from other countries such as India, Philippines, Georgia, Kenya. I always do worldwide. Then click on budget. Now, when it comes to choosing between an hourly rate and fixed price, here's my take on that. Fixed priced projects are easier to keep track of when you pay your team. So if your scriptwriter completes 10 projects for this week, you just have to see the milestone set up being 10 projects for that week. Now, if you choose to pay hourly, what you have to do, or what I recommend you doing, is that you have to set quotas for your contractor. So if you're paying them, let's say $8 for 20 hours a week, that's $160 per week. It's important that you set a quota so that you're not spending too much for script writing. If we take out my calculator here, normally I pay script writing anywhere from between $20 to $25. And let's take for example, for a fixed price scriptwriter, we may pay them $20 and they complete 10 scripts per week. So that's 20 times 10, which means we're spending about $200 for 10 scripts. Now for an hourly rate, if we're paying someone $8 an hour for 20 hours a week, that's $160 spent every week. But if you divide that by 10 scripts, Now you're only paying $16 per script. So your quota here would be to make sure that your scriptwriter is able to write 16 scripts at least per week. Now you can actually increase the number of scripts that you want them to meet so that your price goes down lower. So taking the example again, you're paying someone $8 an hour times part-time hours or 20 hours per week. But now let's say that you want them to meet the quota of 20 scripts per week. So divided by 20. Now you're paying only $8 a script. So using the hourly rate is a very, very good way to save on costs. But at the same time though, you do have to make sure that your team hits a quota. Make sure that they actually write 20 scripts per week. Fixed price, however, is a lot easier to keep track of. If you're paying someone a fixed price of $20 per script and they do 10 scripts, you can easily see that in the invoice. The majority of my team, they do tend to get paid on fixed price budgets just because it's easier to keep track of. But you are technically going to save money if you pay your team in an hourly rate. Again, if you set an hourly rate, you want to make sure that they hit quotas though. So in this case, we're going to do a fixed price of $20. Before you actually input the fixed price of $20, the price that you see here is what freelancers are going to see in your job listing. So what I tend to do is I tend to multiply it by like 20 projects. So let's say 20 times 20 so that the budget is $400. And now when people see your job listing, they're going to see that, okay, this project is potentially up to $400. But in your description, as I'm going to show you shortly, you can write that it's a per script project basis where you're paying $20 per script. But when I input the budget here, I tend to think about, okay, they're going to write 20 scripts for $20 each. Let's do a budget of $400. Next description. So we'll continue with that. Now what you want to write here, I basically copy and pasted one of my previous job listings where you can kind of pause the video and read what I'm writing here, but basically just change the word sports with whatever your niche is. So I'm looking for a long-term creative writer who can write scripts for YouTube videos related to sports, someone who's very familiar with sports. I'd say one of the key things when it comes to hiring a scriptwriter is hiring someone who actually knows your niche makes a really big difference in terms of the quality of your script, voiceover, or video edit. Here we have like a toggle list of we are looking for someone that can communicate effectively, reasonable turnaround times, be creative and humorous, tone we're looking for. So again, pause the video, kind of read through what my job listing looks like. We're looking for scripts to be 1,600 to 1,800 words per script. Most projects require a countdown title script. There's nothing so different about this. It's basically just a nice, simple job listing that you want to do when it comes to people seeing and actually wanting to apply for your job. Something I'll tend to do here is this little statement here in which I'll say, if you read this, please reply with your favorite animal at the... So this little excerpt that you see here, if you read this, please reply with your favorite animal at the beginning of your proposal so that I know that you've read this proposal, so that I know you've read this job listing. This is a good way to screen applicants when it comes to making sure that they've read your job post, okay? So this little excerpt thing is something I tend to include in the middle of my job postings. Here, you always want to include an attached example of what you're looking for. Ideally, creating content similar to the attached link. It could be a Google Drive file. It can be a YouTube video. Attached files here if you want to attach the actual video file itself, and then click Review Job Post. The one thing that I really think that stands UpWork apart from everyone else is the simple fact that you can include something called screening questions. So what these screening questions are, you basically can write up to 5 questions that potential candidates can respond to. I'll give you 3 questions that I really like off the bat, okay? When you're hiring on YouTube automation or Faces channels, people are always going to send you like Google Drive links or website links of their work. Their work is going to look very good, etc. But what you want to mainly look for is how does their work actually do on YouTube? So what I mean by that is, have they actually written a script before that has gone viral before on YouTube? Have they actually voiced a video that has gone viral before on YouTube? Have they edited a video that has gone viral before on YouTube? And lastly, have they created a thumbnail that has gone viral before on YouTube? So that's what I'll ask here. I'll say, have you written a script before that has gone viral before on? If so, please provide the link. This is the absolute main question that I look for, just because I've realized that with all the applicants, a lot of people have really good high quality work, but that's off of YouTube. What really convinces me is if your work has appeared on YouTube and it has done very well. If your script has actually gone viral before on YouTube, that's a no-brainer for me that I'm really going to look at your application. If you've edited a video on YouTube before that has gotten over 1 million views, I am going to look at your application. That's one of the questions that I always tend to include when it comes to screening questions. Other things you can include are, we use, let's say, Skype for communication. Do you use that? Basically, I have like a tools question. Tools that are essential to your business. Do they know how to use Excel sheets? Do they know how to use Slack? Do they know how to use Trello? So here is a question that's dedicated to tools that I'll always include. Next, I'll do a confirmation on the budget of the price. Can you confirm that you'll receive, let's say, $20 a script? Now, this question right here is basically going to save you the trouble or basically time spent talking about the price per project. If your budget is $20 per script, just simply ask it, make it easy. Can you confirm that you'll receive $20 a script? If yes, great. Let's move forward. But if no, they're out of your budget. Okay. Now you can kind of consider, okay, they're out of my budget. But then usually people tend to answer yes to this question. It just makes it easier, and in terms of making sure that you don't have to spend time when it comes to negotiating a price on this job listing. These are the 3 main questions that I always tend to ask. You'd add about 2 more. I don't do like, why should I choose you type questions, or tell me about a time that you've worked together on a team. I don't really do questions like that. The question regarding, have they worked on YouTube videos that I've gone viral before, is extremely helpful. Then you have a tool/communication lines, just because you don't want to have to spend time teaching someone how to use Trello, right? Like, you got to move on. You got to work on bigger things that are more essential. And lastly, you have the payment confirmation. Can you confirm that you'll receive $20 a script? And if they say yes, great. The screening questions, I really, really like this aspect, just because when I see applicants, the screening questions are what I'm going to see first, even before their job proposal. I tend to actually base most of my hires on the screening questions. Okay, so you have 2 more questions here that you can add specific to the role that you're trying to hire for. I really rarely look at the actual job proposal that people send me, just because I feel like it's so cookie cutter. It's just copy and pasted. But what I really like, though, again, is these screening questions, and that is probably the main reason why I prefer UpWork over anything else. After that, we'll post a job, but once your job's posted, I'll show you what that looks like in the back end, and we'll use an old job listing. So here we have a job listing created 3 months ago where we got 34 new proposals. When it comes to screening applicants, what that tends to look like is I'll click on review proposals, and then what I'll do is I'm basically looking for anyone. I do want to make sure that they actually have had earned money on UpWork before. With that, I'll tend to not choose people who haven't earned money on UpWork before. So this person, Carlos, no. Moaz, probably no. He doesn't have like an established account, but that's up to you. I've had people had success where they do hire people who have not earned money before. Like, I'll still take a look. But if you want to, especially because if you have a lot of different applicants applying to your job post, what you'll tend to do is that you'll click on this UpWork profile. And again, we're reading through the screening questions. These 4 questions that you see here are basically the screening questions that I included that I'm looking at. I really rarely ever look at this just because it's so cookie cutter and copy and pasted. But the screening questions are basically the main way I kind of determine whether or not someone's a good candidate. That's how I tend to screen people. There's going to be like this thumbs up and thumbs down button over here where you can archive or basically remove applicants, but then you could also bump someone up if you think that they're a good applicant as well. Now, other tips to actually increase the number of applicants that you get. Number 1, you want to make sure that you confirm your payment. Actually verify your payment to show that you are ready to pay someone out. Number 2 is that when it comes to samples, let's say that you have Jonathan and you're thinking about hiring him, I do paid samples, okay? It does help in your case to have like an established UpWork profile. And what I mean by that is, even though you're paying for samples, you're gonna start basically having the increased total spend on your UpWork profile, which looks good to freelancers, okay? So here's my UpWork profile in which I have $470,000 spent, 250 hires, 77 active. When people see that, they basically see like I'm an established person. And so you kind of want to build that reputability when it comes to freelancers seeing your account. So I do paid samples, But take, for example, $20 for a 1,800 word script. Maybe you only want to do a third of that. Just write 600 words to see how your writing is. So a third of $20 is like $6 or so. So then you only have to set up a contract for $6 and then afterwards see their sample from there. So paid samples do help. An established Upwork profile also helps as well. Now, the last thing I want to make sure that you're doing is that you're posting multiple job listings specifically for whom you're hiring for. So what I mean by that is every morning, I'll actually go ahead and check out which proposals I have, and then I'll actually reuse the same job posting. So what I do is I click on these three dots right here, and then I just simply click on reuse posting and then just publish it. It takes the same screening questions. It takes the same budget. It takes the same job posting description. And so I do this morning and night until I actually find someone. So you can kind of see here, I'm looking for like a user content generator person to speak my scripts or basically recite my scripts. But you can see how many times I'm actually posting a job listing, one in the morning and one in the evening, to make sure that I'm tackling on finding someone, whether it's morning or daytime or nighttime, wherever they might be. So I think also posting multiple job listings is really key to making sure that you get a decent amount of applicants, and also to make sure that you actually find someone rather than just posting one job listing today and just hoping someone applies. But with that being said, screening through applicants, how many posts you should do. Again, 2 posts per day of the same post is what I do. How much should you post? How much should you pay? Now, for a regular YouTube video, faceless YouTube video, I tend to follow a model of 30, 30, 40. YouTube automation, it's not cheap. The totality of your video, ideally, in an ideal world, should be less than $60. If it's $100 for a high quality video, I've paid for that as well. But what I mean by 30, 30, 40 is like $30 for the script, $30 for the voiceover, and $40 for the video edit. Now, of course, you should probably work on getting it lower than that. And then the thumbnail designer can squeeze in there between like $5 to $10 a thumbnail. But it really depends on your niche. Okay, some niches are going to be more expensive than others, and obviously higher quality work tends to be more pricey. But I, on average, probably spend like $60 on average on a video. And one way to negotiate with your team or contractors is to work on a bulk order basis. So instead of paying $20 for one script, you can do, let's say, $150 for 10 scripts. Work on a bulk order just so you can get your costs lower. And that'll also tend to help you save on costs as well. So again, 30, 30, 40, 30 for the script, 30 for the voiceover, 40 for the video edit. That's what I follow. In an ideal world, if you can get your video for under $60, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you're creating like tutorial videos or how-to videos that are very, very small, you can get them for like less than $10. For high quality animations are always going to be more expensive. So just look for very simple video editing. Now, to kind of near the end of this video, I want to kind of teach you the concept of Pareto's principle, in which you may have an opinion. Okay, I have an opinion, you have an opinion on how your video should be, on how your video edit should be, on how your scriptwriter should write, on how my voiceover should sound. But Pareto's principle, I really preach it when it comes to YouTube videos, just because I've posted so many videos and found that even though I didn't like the video, it still ended up working on YouTube. So there's got to be a time in which you kind of like take a step back and actually just let the YouTube algorithm / audience decide whether or not your video is good enough. Pareto's principle states that 80% of the quality of work comes from 20% of the effort. So you don't want to go like spending hours and hours trying to find the perfect scriptwriter and the perfect video editor, just because you might find someone who's just good enough for like a good amount of payment. And that might be good enough to actually get your videos to work and go viral or just appear in the YouTube algorithm. Okay. So I hope you found this video helpful. I'll leave down below in the description a link to UpWork where you can follow along with the hiring process. And again, a lot of my team, I say the majority of my team, does come from UpWork. In addition to that, you can also find my free training where I talk about the 4 keys to passive income on YouTube, quote unquote passive income. So you can check that out as well. It's absolutely free. But if you watched up till this point, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.